Hey guys, Jay here. So in this video today, I want to quickly share with you guys I think it's a very good setup. That seems nobody have been using it yet for some reason. Maybe it's just because it is a new item. And yeah, first I am using the Will of Unato organic ring. So this is one of the 4 rings. There's a version for cold, fire, and lightning. Which let me actually pull it up here. So this is the fire version. So 10 to 15% of the values of whatever is the increase and reduction to fire damage is going to apply to fire aura. So this is purity of fire. This is anger as well. Unato is going to be physical aura. Will of Ash is going to be lightning aura. Tool is going to be cold. So basically, depending on which kind of damage you are dealing, you are going to be scaling that type of aura as well. So this ring can scale up to 150% increased effect of aura. This is a very insane number. However, there's a catch. It is only equal to 15% of whatever is the increase and reduction to, in this case, let's just say we are talking about this one. Physical damage, increase and reduction to physical damage, and this has to be global physical damage, by the way. You cannot do like physical damage with axe, physical damage with spells, physical damage with attacks. Those doesn't work. It has to be just increased physical damage, which is global physical damage. Global damage doesn't work as well. Minion damage convert to character damage with spiritual aid does not work as well. So only increased physical damage will work, and therefore there's not a lot of sources that you can actually get this stat naturally, especially if you look at the skill tree here. If you just take a look around, right? If I search physical damage, it is going to show stuff like increased physical damage with maces, so specific weapon, those will not work. We have 40% increased physical damage here, right? This is increased physical damage. This is also increased physical damage, and this is the global one. I don't think there is anything else that is global. This is like, for example, attack physical damage. So therefore, if you want to really like kind of double dip scaling, you want a lot of increased physical damage. So one way is you can do cluster jewel. Cluster jewel like this. I think, ideally you kind of want a 12 passive skill cluster jewel, so you have more points, because each point potentially can give you up to 16% increased physical damage. And if you do like a master of fundamental, I think there is a battle hardened node as well, also give 35% increased physical damage. But I don't think you can roll both master of fundamental and battle hardened, and then you can roll the increased effect of added small passive skill in one jewel, because they are both prefixes. All 3 mods are prefixes, so you cannot really have all of them in one jewel. So I think a 35% and then just master of fundamental is probably the best bet, right? I am going for a like attribute and whatever here. I basically just look for the 2 stat 35% increase effect and master of fundamental, and then the other stat is whatever. I choose attribute because it helped me with some attribute requirement on the gear. This is not a big source at all. Maximum, if you don't have, if says you have 35% here and a 12 passive skill, that means you are looking at a total of 9 times 16. So 144% increased physical damage, and 35 here, so that is another 35 and 144. That is 179% total physical damage from a cluster jewel. That is the maximum that you can have from one cluster jewel. 12 passive, 35% increase, and then one of the 2 notable master of fundamental or hardened battle, right? But the big buck is going to come from this setup here. We are using 3 different jewels. So number 1 is going to be Unnatural Instinct. And Foulborn version is just slightly better than the other one, because Foulborn version, which is around 3 divine, the normal version is 1 divine. So Foulborn is just slightly better because it gives the bonuses of the small passive, so 2 point here, instead of this, instead of the notable. The notable is 1% regen, life regen, and this one is 0.7% regen, but it also comes with 6% physical damage on each node because we are using Light of Meaning over here, right? So this is going to give us all the bonuses of things in this area, even though we do not allocate it. So if you look at the last line here, this is 200% increased physical damage already, just on this area. And then because it also overlaps with this area, we are looking for more, right? So you might wonder what jewel is this, and it is the Foulborn Might of the Meek. This is also a new jewel that we have this league because Foulborn, right? 75% increased effect of non-keystone passive in this radius. So this becomes 31% fire resistant. And you might notice it is 10% physical damage. So 6% become 10%. So that is very, very big, right? So we can potentially even have more points in here. I think this suppress and 10% increase physical damage is incredible. In the end, maybe if I have more level, I will have 1, 2, 3, 2 point here, 5% attack speed and 10% fist. Very good. Again, same story, and 5% move speed and 10% fist. So a lot of points here becomes very, very, very attractive in terms of like point efficient. 24% over here, very nice. 28% in this node, super, super damn nice, right? So because of Might of the Meek, if we put it in this area, we lose one node that is Path of the Warrior. This actually gives 20% physical damage, but the trade-off is very, very worth it. So in my opinion, this is super, super damn worth it. And this is 8 Chaos, by the way. This is the only thing that is kind of expensive. This is 7 Divine at the current market price. And this is, you can use the normal one. It is 12% physical damage difference. Yeah, but I can afford this one, 3 Divine, so 10 divine-ish of cluster, not cluster, but of unique jewels. And we will have, I would estimate a total of roughly 400% to 600%, depending on how many passive points you are willing to invest into this area. And I think, a lot of points is very worth it over here. So probably, I would say in the end game for this character specifically, I would invest in roughly 500% total increased physical damage from this part. Maybe I'll change the cluster jewel, so I will have 179% over there as well. 40% here, so that is 210, 220, 720 with this, and maybe we get more point here as well. So, in the end, I think we can also use this, by the way. Right now, I'm not using this. I forgot about it. But right now, I'm not using this. But, you can potentially have like physical damage from timeless jewel as well. This is not a very, very good example because the Divine Flesh, the Sibaqua Glorious Vanity actually does not give a lot of global physical damage. The biggest one are these what is it? The Supreme Ostentation one, I forgot. Elegant Hubris. So Elegant Hubris can give you up to 80% global physical damage from one single notable. And, in areas like this, for example, I'm using the Impossible Escape around Avatar Fire. This jewel is very good, but it's also very cheap right now. 45 Chaos at the current price. 40. It even went down a little bit, right? So we can get physical damage, maximum rest, and then we can get some of the notes that is going to be in the area of this keystone, right? So it can turn like small point into physical damage as well. Yeah, 11 and 9% here, so 20%. Long story short, we can actually get pretty close to 1,000% increased global physical damage, which is probably the hardest one to get in the game because increased cold damage, you can have a lot of it on the skill tree. You can also have it roll on like Scepter, on Wands, this kind of thing. You can have big roll for increased one element damage, but for physical is much harder. So therefore, I think if we can do it with physical, we can do it with literally anything, right? Right now, this character, I intend to make it a cast when stun character with physical damage focus. I used to play with cast when stun Fist Dot last league, but it lose out to the hit base version by a little bit, probably like 10% damage in the top end. So I decided to go for hit base last league with Blade Blast. But this league, I think the Fist Dot is probably going to feel much better because overall, every single Fist Dot skill is buffed by roughly 20% damage on the damage over time portion of it. Anyway, that is enough. This is the whole setup, right? One ring, 3 jewels, and if you want to, you can also use a cluster jewel. You can also use a timeless jewel as well, if you may. The elegant hubris is going to be the biggest one because it gives you 80% per notable potentially, and you can have like 2-3 of them on the same area, and you can have like 240%, 360% something increased physical damage in one area, right? So that is the whole setup. The Pride Aura, by the way, if you are going to use Return to Dust for like additional single target, scaling Pride Aura is absolutely insane with this thing. This deals a shit ton of damage. And if we make enemy takes more damage, that is just like multiplier. And it's going to help a lot with single target, especially for builds that want like real automation, just zero button, lazy playstyle, face tank, everything like cast when stun, right? So I think this looks very promising, at least for this character. But I do see that this particular setup with the, I would call this Breach Lord ring, and then the jewels around the Scion starting area over here. So Unnatural Instinct, Firborn Maya the Meek, and a Lightning Meaning. Whatever stat you choose. You can choose increased cold, fire, lightning damage as well. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video, guys. Probably is an update on the Cast when Stun character sometime tomorrow. Peace.